company focused on accelerating solutions for brain diseases. Prior to that, he was the Executive Vice President of HealthPoint Biotherapeutics. With a strong background and track record, Rob will help strengthen our therapeutics pipeline strategy and advance our clinical development, all while guiding our franchise through commercialization. With a strong team and infrastructure in place, we look forward to elevating the value of our therapeutics franchise and entering the growing $2.3 billion global therapeutics neuromodulator market. With that, I'll turn the call back over to Mark to discuss our upcoming pipeline milestones. Mark?
Thanks, Dustin. We are anticipating two key milestones in our therapeutics pipeline in the second half of the year. As Dustin mentioned, we are currently in phase 3 clinical trials evaluating daxibotulinumtoxinA for injection for the treatment of cervical dystonia. In the second half, we expect to share the results from our ASPEN open-label long-term safety study. Afterwards, we plan on filing a supplemental biologics license application in 2022 with anticipated approval in 2023. Our clinical team is also preparing for a phase 3 program in adult upper limb spasticity. You'll recall that we completed our JUNIPER phase 2 study in February of this year, and our plan remains to hold an end of phase 2
commercial activities for the daxibotulinumtoxinA for injection. SG&A expenses include depreciation and amortization and stock-based compensation. Excluding these expenses, non-GAAP SG&A expenses were $42.4 million. Research and development expenses were $29.4 million for the second quarter, reflecting costs related to clinical trials, regulatory support for our ongoing biologics license application, pre-commercial manufacturing, and our fintech platform development. R&D expenses include depreciation and amortization and stock-based compensation. Excluding these expenses, non-GAAP R&D expenses were $24.9 million. We continue to balance growth with financial discipline during the quarter, and our balance sheet remains strong heading into the second half of the year. Cash equivalents, and short-term investments as of June 30th, 2021 were $336.3 million, which we believe is sufficient to fund our operating plan into 2024. Further, we reaffirmed our previously announced 2021 guidance. For approximately $71.8 million, with 76.7 million fully diluted shares, excluding the impact of convertible debt. And with that, I'll turn the call back over to Mark.
Thank you, Toby. In closing, we're very proud of our performance in the first half of the year and anticipate a strong finish in the second half, with the potential approval of daxibotulinumtoxinA for injection and further advancement in our therapeutics pipeline. We also remain in a solid financial position with sufficient cash to support our growth initiatives into 2024. With that, I will now open the call up for questions. Operator?
Thank you. As a reminder, to ask a question, you may press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. That's star 1 on your telephone. We will have our first question from the line of Seamus Fernandez from Guggenheim. Your line is now open.
Oh, thanks very much. So I'll do my one question and follow up, but just to kick off with the first question, AbbVie really under the Allergan moniker really delivered a very, very strong second quarter. Congrats on your guys' second quarter. One thing that they commented on was that they anticipated that approximately 2/3 of the demand was regular way demand, and then about 1/3 was pent up. Would you guys maybe just comment on your thoughts around, that statement and, what it means relative to, sort of the growth of the market relative to share taking as you think about it? And then I have one other follow-up question.
Hey, Seamus, this is Mark. I don't know that we've got any sort of better data than that. We're in launch phase, so obviously the accounts that we're dealing with represent sort of a smaller fraction of the overall market. Having said that, I would say that, our focus on prestige and the high-end nature of these accounts, there's definitely a pretty healthy backlog. And so with talking with them, there's no doubt there's some pent-up demand. There's clearly, some new consumers that are entering the market, somewhat to the Zoom effect and everything else. And we feel very good that, we've returned, at least for now, back to levels that were pre-pandemic. And, certainly we would expect that we'll continue to see overall market growth. But I don't know that we have anything additional to add. We feel very good about where we are in the market, where we are with accounts. As you can tell with the, roughly 2,000 or so accounts that we're in between our products and services, that we're being pretty targeted. But clearly we're seeing a nice healthy market right now.
Great. And then just as a